When Daniel married Lily, he thought his life had finally reached its happiest point. Their wedding was beautiful. Family, friends, laughter, and promises of forever. He had spent months planning their honeymoon to a quiet beach resort in Bali, imagining peaceful walks, sunsets, and a fresh start as husband and wife. For him, it wasn't just a trip, it was the beginning of their new life together. But he had no idea that it would become the memory that haunted him forever. The first few days were perfect. They explored the island, tried local food, and took endless photos together. Lily laughed more than usual, her smile glowing under the tropical sun. But by the fourth day, Daniel began noticing small changes. She started spending extra time on her phone, stepping outside to take work calls, and becoming distant during meals. He brushed it off, thinking it was just stress or tiredness from traveling. That night, as they sat by the ocean, she seemed distracted. Daniel reached for her hand, but she quickly pulled it away when a message popped up on her screen. Her expression shifted, and she turned the phone face down. Something inside him told him that wasn't normal. Later, when she fell asleep, he quietly picked up her phone, his heart pounding in his chest. What he saw made his world collapse. There were messages, intimate ones, with a man named Ryan. They weren't just flirty, they were full of confessions and memories. The most painful part was realizing she had been texting him even during their wedding day. Daniel sat there in silence, staring at the screen, the sound of the waves mocking him. His wife, the woman who promised to love him forever, had been emotionally and physically with someone else. The next morning, he didn't confront her right away. Instead, he decided to watch how far she would go. He acted normal, asked about her plans for the day, and she replied that she was going to the spa. After she left, he followed her quietly. To his horror, she didn't go to the spa. She went to a cafe and met Ryan, who had apparently flown in to surprise her. Daniel's chest tightened as he watched them hug and sit closely, completely unaware that her husband was standing just a few feet away. He didn't make a scene. He took photos, videos, and every bit of proof he needed. Then he quietly returned to their hotel room and began packing his things. When Lily returned, pretending nothing had happened, he was sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting. The calmness in his voice surprised even him as he said, "I hope the coffee with Ryan was good." Her face turned pale instantly. At first, she tried to lie, saying Ryan was just a friend. But when he showed her the photos, her phone messages, and even the flight confirmation Ryan had sent her, she broke down. She begged him to listen, claiming it was a mistake, and that she didn't mean to hurt him. But Daniel was done listening to excuses. He told her that marriage built on betrayal had no foundation to stand on. Instead of shouting or crying, he simply walked out. He booked an earlier flight home, leaving her alone in the resort. On the plane, he stared out the window, his wedding ring heavy in his hand. The pain was unbearable, but he also felt a strange sense of freedom. He realized that silence often protects the wrong people, and this time, he refused to stay quiet. When he returned home, he filed for an annulment and sent all the evidence to her family. It wasn't revenge, it was truth. Her parents were devastated, and Lily tried calling him multiple times, but he never answered. He blocked her number and deleted her photos, one by one, until there was nothing left to remind him of her betrayal. News of what happened spread among friends and relatives. Some blamed him for being too harsh, while others admired his strength. Daniel didn't care about opinions anymore. He had been humiliated, but he handled it with dignity. The silence he broke wasn't out of anger, it was out of respect for himself. Months passed, and Daniel began rebuilding his life. He focused on his work, traveled alone, and found comfort in solitude. There were nights when the memories still hurt, but over time, pain turned into lessons. He learned that trust, once broken, could never be fully repaired. One evening, while walking along a quiet beach, ironically similar to the one from his honeymoon, he realized something. The same ocean that witnessed his heartbreak now symbolized his healing. The waves didn't stop for anyone, they just kept moving forward. And so would he. Years later, when someone asked him if he ever regretted not forgiving her, he smiled softly and said, "Forgiving her would have been easy. Forgetting myself in the process would have been the real mistake." Daniel's story became one of strength, not sadness. He had loved deeply, been betrayed cruelly, but in the end, he chose to stand tall. He didn't stay quiet, not to destroy her, but to finally speak for himself.